So today's video is actually going to be an interview with Vince Gusso, Cinema Gusso, which is a popular movie theater chain out in Canada. I believe it's Montreal. Could be Quebec. He's told me so many times, but I'm terrible. I suck. I know. But Vince is an awesome guy. I've spoken with him on several occasions about what it's like to own a theater in these trying COVID times, and we talk a little bit about the state of the industry and other things. So this is a wide-ranging 20-minute interview. Now, the reason why I'm doing this introduction is there's a slight snafu when I was doing this interview because I used Zoom, and for some reason the Zoom did not record my video. So basically you hear my voice off camera, but you actually get to see Vince in all his glory. And one of the cool things about Vince, which he rarely talks about, and I keep trying to tell him he needs to sell himself more. Sell. And who am I to tell a multimillionaire investor how to do business? Because actually, one of the cool things about Vince is he actually is a dragon on the popular show Dragon's Den. And if you don't know, Dragon's Den is actually the precursor to Shark Tank. Shark Tank is actually basically a concept and idea that I say stolen, Vince says inspired by Dragon's Den. So yeah, it was a really fun interview. This is like my third or fourth time talking to Vince, and every time we talk, we go for like a half hour or so. Now, the one thing about this interview is I recorded this on my Zoom, and for some reason, Zoom decided to flake out on me, and it didn't record me in my prettiness. Vogue. So Zoom did not record me. So basically, the entire video is me asking questions off camera, as they say in the business, and Vince just answering them. So watch the video. Let me know what you guys think, and what do you guys think about the Oscars? And let's talk movies. We don't talk enough movies, and I'm an entertainment reporter, and I want to take this channel back to its roots. So here we go. I'm going to roll it this way, but it'll probably come in this way. All right. So welcome back, and this. Should we pretend like we didn't talk just 2 days ago? Yep. Let's pretend like we didn't talk 2 days ago. So tell us who you are and why we're speaking with you, and then we'll just dive right in like we normally do.
Yeah. Vince Gusso from Cinema Gusso.
Okay. And then you always sell yourself short. I keep telling you that. You're like, not only are you with Cinema Gusso, but Cinema Gusso is a major theater chain in Canada. What part of Canada? Is it Toronto or?
Montreal, Greater Montreal, in the province of Quebec.
And then you're also one of the dragons on Dragon's Den, which is the
precursor to Shark Tank.
I always forget
Kevin O'Leary. Kevin was on Dragon's Den before going to Shark Tank.
Oh, awesome. And as I always tell you, I have pictures for you. I want to be on that show.
Okay, no problem.
I have ideas for NFTs and trying to make money off this new meta thing that everyone keeps talking about. Right. so you're in a much better mood than when we tried to do this the other day. And that is why. Why are you in a much better?
Well, I mean, I'm in a better mood because now we actually have a date of reopening, which is the 7th of February. It's still at a 50% capacity, but that's fine. I mean, with the movies that are out there now, 50% is going to be more than fine. And then come before March 4th, we'll push for a larger reopening because of Batman, or we'll just put Batman on twice as many screens and we'll have the seating we needed anyway.
And is there any pent up demand in Canada to see Spider-Man on the screen?
Well, in Quebec there is. I mean, there are some English-speaking Quebecers who drove to Cornwall, which is on the other side in Ontario, and they watched the movie. But the average French Canadian had no access to Spider-Man or to The Matrix or to Scream. So all of those movies are now going to open up on the 7th of February.
Can I just say Scream was amazing?
Was it? It's one of those my wife wants to see.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of weeks ago. First time back in the theater since Spider-Man. Because I've told you numerous times. Well, I love you theater people, and I love the idea of being in the theater. The theaters here in Florida are just awful, especially the ones here in Jacksonville. They're just
Right.
terrible.
It's funny
Especially,
because I was many years ago. I would say in the early 2000s, I actually looked at buying a theater complex in Jacksonville, Florida. My dad was looking for a retirement place, so he goes, "You know what? We'll buy a theater. It'll give me a reason to go retire there, and still be busy and not be a real retiree."
why did you do that? Because I swear, and that's one of the reasons why. And we've talked about this before in the past as well, um, where I'm a huge data supporter, but I still think you don't get customers by browbeating them and guilt trip. When you get them by making the experience better, and if anything, it's gotten worse in the last
Well, I
few.
mean, the problem is that there's a huge capital investment when you build a brand new theater,
Mhm.
and then sometimes when you're all alone, there's nothing that pushes you to progress, right? Just saying, you know what, I'm the only game in town, uh, um, and so forth and so forth, and so the ups and downs. We know that the movie theater business has a 10-year cycle, right? We go up for 10 years, and then we reach a plateau, and then we start going down for the next 10 years, and then it goes back up. It's a cyclical.
Is that the theater? Is that the theater's fault, or is it just not having good material? Because I was surprised that the other reason why most of the movies that were quote unquote on demand last year failed wasn't because they were on streaming services. It was because those movies weren't going to do big box office anyway. Um,
So yeah, so the real debate on a regular basis is Hollywood has to adapt to a changing demographic, right? So we know that, for example, what's going to work today probably will work for the next 10 years. And so they'll pump out that same kind of model for the next 10 years. The problem is that 10 years later, that 15-year-old is now a 25-year-old. And the
mhm,
new 15-year-old, well, he's already experienced that from the age of 5 to 15. So
mhm.
he's looking for something new, right? So sometimes it's more a question of how do you tell a story, right? I think we talked about this once before when I told you that James Cameron basically compared, Avatar, Titanic, and Romeo and Juliet. It's the same story, just
Mhm.
told under a different background, different decor, different way of delivering the story. And so that, I would tell you, is the biggest hurdle Hollywood has, is that the evolution of a 15-year-old over 10 years is so different that what works with me as a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old and what works with my kids is totally different, right? And so so they got to adapt, and adapting is always harder than just copy paste.
And then to your point, I see the catch 22 as well in terms of capital outlay because what we want, at least me as a grown functioning adult who loves going to the movies, is I want a fancy experience. Like I want to be able to go in, have my nice seat,
Yeah.
and at the very least, if a movie starts at 12:30, I don't want it starting at 1:10, especially if it's a 90-minute movie. I'm like, I'm sitting here for 40 minutes of commercials for a 90-minute movie. And by the time the movie starts, I'm like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Um, so
I
those,
understand. I understand where you're coming from. The only thing I think consumers should appreciate is the following:
mhm,
is if you look at the inflation rate from the early 80s
mhm,
till today, ticket prices should be $40.
mhm,
They're not. So if they're not, that means there's something subsidizing that ticket price. So popcorn sales is subsidizing it, on-screen advertising is subsidizing it. A
mhm.
lot of, so somewhere along the way, sometimes we like to say, hey, you want
And,
to pay $40 to bump the line and not see that, or do you want to pay 12
but
bucks and wait a few minutes?
there has to be a balance. And like I said, there was at one point there was this push to like increase the quality of the concessions. And here in Jacksonville, there's like you go there now, and the concessions are basically just stale popcorn.
You know,
The fancy chicken
right?
tenders anymore.
Even if we look at some of those theaters, I would tell you, you take concession in a VIP theater,
Mhm,
75% of their sales will still be popcorn and a pop.
mhm.
It's as simple as that. I mean, the extra, all of that other stuff are lower margin items. They have a higher rate of spoilage. And the truth of the matter is, would you pay the same margin as we make on popcorn on sliders? You'll be paying $20 for 3 sliders. And it's $20. And let's be honest, most theaters hit the microwave button and will give you those 3 sliders. So some theaters have decided to stick to chocolates, candy, popcorn, pop. They know they can do that properly, and
Mhm.
they do it. And it sort of satisfies, I would tell you, 80 to 90% of their customers. When it comes to the VIP experience, guys,
Mhm.
I don't want to be mean, but the model doesn't work.
Well,
Most guys who were in that business went belly up.
if there was an Alamo by my house, I would keep them in business. in business.
I understand, but Alamo's a good example, right? They had a great model, but they went belly up during the pandemic.
Mhm.
iPic went belly up before the pandemic, and so it's a very particular model because if you look at the average screen of a VIP theater, it costs the same price. So, for example, a 100 seat auditorium of a VIP complex is the equivalent of a 400 seat regular auditorium.
Mhm.
But I'm not getting, so the cost is the same, if not higher, for the VIP, right? The infrastructure cost. But the truth of the matter is, you're not getting 4 times the price. So even if you're sold out, you're not making the 400 seat. It's a very awkward model that is not 100% yet, I believe, ready to be accepted by customers because customers aren't willing to pay 3 times, 4 times more for that experience.
So I have a question. So how do you balance? I have a fancy Mac. I don't need these.
So I mean, the balance is a very simple one. I mean, what we did is in our theaters, we did full stadium, 24-inch seat wide
Mhm.
seats, which is the same size as a lazy boy seat anyway. We
Mhm.
gave 48 inches leg room, but the
Nice.
only difference is you can't lie down and fall asleep. So you've got the comfort, but the difference is that because you don't have to do the recliner, you don't have to leave an extra, you know, 2 feet for when somebody's reclining, and then it's killing the whole aisle.
Yeah, because I actually never understood that model in terms of like it makes for beautiful pictures. And like sitting in a bit fancy seats that go all the way back and they give you like the nice
Yeah.
comforters and stuff. But I'm like,
Look, it's not a secret. The last time I was in LA pre-COVID,
mhm,
I went to an iPic movie theater literally months before they shut down on Wilshire Boulevard.
mhm,
I walked in, I was watching a movie. It was a 10 o'clock showing. I got up at a certain point to go to the bathroom. As I got up, I turned around. There was not one single person awake in that auditorium. Everybody was sleeping. Now, is it the movie that's bad? Is it what? I mean, look, the truth of the matter is, I was going to fall asleep as well if
yeah,
it wasn't for the fact that I had to go to the bathroom. Right. I mean, so if a movie's bad, I'll fall asleep even sitting upright in the auditorium. So
e-
it's not a
e-
problem.
exactly.
Right. And I had the president of Universal Canada, bless his soul, he's passed away many years, a gentleman called Eugene Amadeo. Now I remember when I built my first megaplex in 1998 and he came to the theater, he sat into the seats and he said, "Shit, you're giving us a problem." And I says, "What do you mean?" "We better make good seats because people are going to be, we better make good movies because people are going to be paying $10 to come and sleep here, or else, like the seats are way too comfortable." But the truth of the matter is, you want to go to the movies with other people. Look, I know, without naming names, I know billionaires in
Mhm.
Montreal who want to watch, for example, movies. They'll call me for when's the show time, this to get tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he's a billionaire. So I tell him, look, if you want, I can shut down the whole auditorium just for you. Like, like, never know when you need a billionaire friend, right?
Exactly.
No, no, no. I want to watch it with other people. I need the vibe of other people. So I'm okay with the social distancing of other people, but I need to laugh at the same time as them. I need to cry and be scared at the same time as them. And going into a VIP somewhere along the way, it takes the commonality of going to the movies, right? I always like to say, you've got to have a Walmart upper scale experience and not a Louis Vuitton experience.
And there's that word again. There's a balance, because to your point, did you see SpiderMan No Way Home yet? And did you see it on the big screen? I'm assuming you did.
Well, I saw it alone in my own theater in the middle of Christmas break when my theaters were shut.
Okay, so here's the thing. That's a movie that deserves like an audience that goes, yeah, and cheering and all that kind of stuff. I swear, the audience I saw this with, completely packed house, completely packed. And I'm like, I don't want two people near me. That's how packed it was. But it was such a dead crowd. It was like when the three Spider-Mans showed up, you would expect like or when Daredevil showed up, you would expect like oh my God. I was waiting for those moments. And they never happened. The crowd was just kind of like polite. And I wonder, do you think that's because so many spoilers that are out there are ruining the movie and that kind of reaction from people? Or was I just with the bad crowd?
No, I think what may have been the issue is we're still coming out of COVID restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all together. We're trying not to talk. We're trying not to.
That I love. That I love.
You know what I mean? I don't know what the situation was in Florida, but I mean, in Montreal, we're reopening. You still have to wear masks if you're not consuming food or beverages in the auditorium, right? So, now does that, does having a mask on muzzle me in some senses, right? Or does it,
So do you think the people who, and I actually think this, so I kind of know what my thoughts on this are, but do you think the people, like basically the movie theaters lost the people who really weren't into movies to begin with, other than the people who may come out for a Spider-Man or a Batman?
Well, that's the other thing. You're right. There's what I call the regular, I'm going every week. It's my date night with my wife or girlfriend to the movies. And then there's, okay, Jurassic Park's coming out. It's my one movie a year. So I have an emergency doctor friend of mine who's in his late 60s, early 70s. And I was surprised one day he calls me up and he says, hey, I'm happy you got a packed house here. It was pre-COVID. It was Jurassic Park. And I said to him, I says, Mark, I don't get it. It's like 35 degrees Celsius. So we're talking about almost 100 Fahrenheit outside. What the hell are you doing in the theater? Like, I thought, he goes, hey, it's Jurassic Park. I got to see it. I remember the first one, right? So, but that's the only movie he saw in 2 years, right? Yeah. Versus then there's my kids, for example, who, they'd see 3 movies a week if they can, right? So different crowd. I mean, I don't know if the person who goes once a month or once every quarter is necessarily the one who's gonna cheer and like be outspoken in an auditorium versus being just more relaxed and more zen.
Do you think everyone's more respectful now because of everything that's happened, that they're like kind of just glad to be back? Because I haven't had a cell phone issue, in the few times I've gone.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think people realize everybody's a little tense, everybody's a little anxious. So, you know what? Why bring my cell phone and make it ring? Why start talking in an auditorium when people are going to say, hey, it's, we're still in this crap of COVID, why, so people, because the problem is people are still very confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
There's the opposite poles of this thing here. There's the totally anti-COVID measures, and there's the hypochondriacs, and so at both ends, these guys
I've,
are
I've,
extremists.
I've always been a low-key hypochondriac. I was ahead of that
Okay, I
curve.
mean,
So,
it's okay to be, mindful.
mm-hmm.
The problem is that when you create fear, you've got double opposing poles here.
But my issue is beforehand, before the vaccine and everything,
Yeah.
I was definitely like more like wear your damn mask and do all that kind of stuff. Now post vaccine, I'm like I'm protected as much as I can be,
Right.
and I know what I'm comfortable with. At that point, live and let live. My issue are the people who knowingly show up to places just to cause a problem.
Yeah, but that's like I said, I think that right now the silent majority has made a point
Mm-hmm.
of we're not going to take any of the crap from either extreme ends of this poll. We want to get back to normal. If you're looking for a fight, go somewhere else. And I think the movie theater operators are doing a great job managing the flow of people in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everybody's just so happy to be out of a lockdown situation that they're going to be fairly respectful, I think, for a certain amount of time. I had friends go to Vegas and they told me one of the best weekend they had. There was no
Cinemacon was. I thought Cinemacon was great, and I was so surprised that so many people adhere to the whole mask rules and everything. I felt like a jerk a couple of times. I completely forgot. I was like, oh wait, gotta put it on. But
no, but I mean, in fact, and like I said, my friend was telling me that he was surprised after spending a weekend in Vegas just recently. He said, it's funny, I didn't find any angry drunks. There was only happy drunks.
Yep.
There was a lot of drunk people,
A lot of happy.
But he goes, but they were all happy. Nobody was looking for a fight. Nobody was looking to be a pain in the butt to everybody. Everybody's just happy to have been able to get back to some form of normality. So I would tell you, yeah, I think there's a lot more respect going on in public right now. That'll dwindle away. Trust me. It'll slowly dwindle away.
And as a theater owner, you have your finger on the pulse. I'm going to be honest. I haven't written anything in about 7 months. I'm trying to get back into it. But what do you think of this year's crop of films? What do you think are going to get people's butts into your theaters?
I think starting with Batman, I think it's a back-to-back series of big movies, so A plus movies. You got some A's, got some A negatives, but I can tell you that A negatives will probably perform as if they were A's or A pluses because of the pent up demand that people want to go back to the theaters. And so, it takes an Avatar, it takes a Batman, a Jurassic Park too.
Is that this year?
Jurassic Park's this year, Batman's this year.
I
think Mission moved, but not Top Gun. So, the crop of pictures, if I look at May, it almost feels like, hey guys, can you give us a little more breather just so we can get those movies properly played and showed and not, like burn them?
Because I'll be honest with you, I'm seriously considering skipping Cinemacon for the first time this year.
Oh no, I'm not.
I'm like I don't know what's.
I got my filming schedule for Dragon's Den season 17, and I told him to move it because I need to go to Cinemacon, and they said, "Oh, okay, I go, yeah," because I missed the last 3 years, and said, "But COVID's only been around for 2." Yeah, I know, but the year before I also missed because you guys had the filming there, and I said it's okay. I'll miss 1 year over the 25, 30 years I've been. Who cares? But I never thought that missing 2019's Cinemacon meant missing 2020's, 2021's, because I'm going back.
I am so glad I went to Comic-Con in And that was the best Comic Con I've ever had. I finally got into my 2 dream parties that were like on my bucket list. And I'm like, okay, I shut this thing down. I don't even need to go in 2020. So,
Oh no, I'm going, and I'm hoping to see you there.
are you gonna pay? Are you gonna pay for a suite? Last Cinemacon, I was so inspired by Top Gun. I went out and flew a jet the next day.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
That's how you check off stuff off your bucket list.
Yeah, because Paramount did that thing and they did the Top Gun thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm pumped. And then I went on my Facebook, and I don't know how they do it with their algorithms, but
Chris Aronson's there again this year, and he'll make sure to make another party out of his Top Gun for sure.
Yeah. How many times can they show that movie though? They gotta at least. They probably have to show it.
Yeah, they're going to show it again. I think they're going to show it again. And
they have to show the whole. They have to show.
It would surprise me if they edited it a bit and actually added a few minutes to it.
No, they have to show the entire thing as one of the surprise movies, don't they?
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, it wouldn't surprise me if they would come out with an edited version that's even longer now, just because they've had 2 years to edit it.
So do you? So what are you most looking forward to then at CinemaCon?
I think I just want to re-see all of the guys from LA. All we've done has been talking on the phone, and the LA guys are always funny. We never do the Zooming thing or the Teams or the Google. We just talk on the phone. It's old school.
Oh, that's so boring.
We've all missed each other's company as much as we sometimes hate each other on Mondays and make peace on Thursday and play golf on Friday. I think we all miss each other. And so I'd like I said, I'd really like to see, people that I consider my friends and people who've, who we've missed the last 2 years because of this crap.
Can you tell them to get rid of letterboxing in theaters for me, please?
I will do my best.
I have 2 more questions. One which is, have you seen the Batman, and what kind of scoops can you?
I have not seen Batman, but I expect to see Batman once I come back from my romantic St. Valentine's Day getaway.
You want to be on the same cruise ship as me?
No cruise ships for me. I don't like to be confined for that long.
I've never been on a cruise, so those cruise ship influencers got me. So now I'm like,
I've never been, but I hear it's fun.
I don't want to put it out there that I'm not going to have fun, but I'm just kind of like, for the price I'm spending, I would rather
have fun.
I would rather do a million other things, probably, but I'm committed at this point. and everyone at my job is like, no, go ahead and go. And the company I work for has a cruise line, so that's all I'll say.
That's a good freebie. I'm taking the freebie. I'm going.
I'm not paying. I'm going on your competition, so.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to try to write it off my taxes. So I was studying their apps. So otherwise, my other comment was going to be, you can always do Dragon's Den at CinemaCon.
Well, it's something we thought about, sending a crew down just to follow around and see what I do as a dragon, but in the movie business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a discussion that we're still having, and we're going to bring it back up on the table and see.
I could be your camera person in there. I could be a producer on that one. So that because I would be interested to see CinemaCon from the standpoint of a theater owner.
Yeah.
As a journalist, it's a totally different experience.
We'll see each other there. Once we're there, we can chat, and I'll give you my 101 perspective of what it is to be a movie theater owner there.
And then I'll pitch you on my metaverse.
That's right.
The new hot buzzword.
That's right. That's right.
So this was awesome.
Thank you.
Do you have any parting words for theater fans?
Yes, go to the movies. Buy popcorn.
I'm not buying that stale popcorn that they sell in Jacksonville. I need the fresh popcorn.
That's right. Ask them for freshly popped. Buy the popcorn and Have fun at the movies.
And then by the time you eat it, by the time the 30-minute pre-show is over, you don't even have the popcorn from the movie. That's just me. So anyway, this was awesome. Thank you again, and I promise I'll get this up probably by what's today? Wednesday? By Friday.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Always nice to see you.
Yep, same
Bye.
here. Bye.